Good morning, everyone. It is time for my book. This story is called The MaKoolian Tales, The Beginning of Living. I won't be able to post it onto Instagram because of a video limit. I will be posting it to my YouTube page, which will be attached to my TikTok profile very soon. Remember, to speed up the video, just click right about here and hold it. It'll speed up the play speed. I really hope you like it. Please give me constructive criticism in the comments. Thanks. Introduction. Upon waking, our expectations are plentiful. We anticipate taking in our surroundings through sight, sound, and smells. What if we don't experience these sensations? What if we awaken to a world devoid of all senses? A place where nothing can be seen, heard, felt, or smelled? I have often pondered this question. Waking up without any feelings was a daily occurrence for me, and it shaped who I am today. However, sharing my story with you means exposing my deepest vulnerabilities, and that is something I struggle with. Yet, that is where my story begins. Chapter 1. The Beginning of Sensation. Regaining consciousness, my senses were met with a deafening silence. The comforting hum of the air conditioner was absent, leaving behind a cold stillness. Even the familiar scent of fresh laundry, infused with the sweet fragrance of fabric softener, was missing. I opened my eyes, but there was nothing to see in the pitch black darkness surrounding me. No shapes or shadows, just an eerie void of nothingness. I reached up to my face, wondering if I had a night mask on that was blocking my vision. My eyes were open, yet there was nothing to see. I couldn't even make out the shape of my own hands in front of me. It was complete darkness. No hint of light, not even from the faintest star in the night sky. I reached out, but found nothing around me. No ground beneath my feet or objects beside me. I was suspended in emptiness, with nothing near to touch. A surge of panic rose from the depths of my stomach. Where was I? Had I been in a terrible accident? Was I lying in a hospital bed unconscious? Or had I already passed away and ended up in some sort of hellish afterlife? There was no clues to tell me where I was or how I got there. Panic escalating, I began to thrash my limbs wildly, hoping to catch someone's attention, signaling for help. But not one single person came. It was like there was nobody around to rescue me. Maybe I was completely alone in this terrifying situation. A sense of being lost and abandoned weighed down on me. It was as if I had been dropped in the middle of a vast, empty world with no one to turn to. The silence around me was deafening, and I couldn't shake off the feeling no one cared about my well-being. I resigned myself to waiting, unsure of what would happen to me next in this desolate place. So I waited, with nothing but my thoughts and fears for company. just a bit more time. It can't be too much longer now. Something has to happen soon. I couldn't live like this forever. Someone or something had to come and bring back the familiar sounds of life. The state of solitude couldn't last forever. My mind is as restless as an animal, constantly searching for something to occupy its time. It bombards me with questions, desperately trying to piece together how I ended up in this place. In an attempt to stave off boredom, I find myself humming various tunes under my breath. Silence around me is deafening, and even my own voice seems to echo back at me. I settle my mind and close my eyes, straining to pick up any faint noises that may be lingering in the air. My ears strain against the quiet, hoping for a whisper or a rustle of leaves to break the monotony. All remains still, and the only sound is the beating of my own heart. Boredom threatens to bring me to tears as I resign myself to the endless waiting game again. In a logical sense, it was impossible for me to be in a state of non existence. I had to physically exist somewhere. But if that were the case, why was no one able to locate me? Why was I not experiencing any sensation at all? I surrendered to the void beneath me. Was I plummeting? Perhaps I had fallen into a bottomless pit, and I cut off my train of thought. No more speculations. It was leading me nowhere. Just rest. When I awaken, perhaps someone will have discovered me. Simply sleep. In my dreams, I can be anywhere and experience all the things I long for. I drifted off into slumber. A sudden burst of vivid colors flooded my mind. Is this reality or just a dream? My eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness surrounding me. That is when I saw it. A fierce, raging battle before me. Two figures were locked in a vicious struggle, clawing and yanking at each other with wild abandon. The metallic smell of blood filled the air as splatters of ruby red decorated the ground and my clothes. Strands of hair, matted and drenched in crimson, littered the scene. Panic set in as I desperately tried to grasp on to any semblance of reality. Wake up! Wake up! My mind screamed, urging me to escape this nightmarish sight. My eyes snapped open, heart pounding in my chest. What was that? A memory? A nightmare? I can't shake the feeling of terror that grips me. Tears start to stream down my face as I try to make sense of what I saw. I'm still stuck in this void, unable to see anything unless I'm asleep. But these visions of terror are not better than the void. Maybe this time I'll dream of something beautiful. I have to keep trying. Closing my eyes, I try to calm my racing heart and force myself to fall asleep again. It's difficult as the memories of what I saw earlier still haunt me. Eventually, sleep overtakes. A flash of colors appear once again, but it's different. Shades of blue, black, and glimmering white surrounds me as I see a woman with short, dark hair. She looks angry and her gaze is fixed on me. I try to move, but find myself unable to do so. Looking around, I see two girls pinning me down. They resemble the furious woman, but their hair is long and dark brown. Their skin is pale, just like hers. The girls seem almost pleased with themselves as they hold me for the woman who approaches me. She doesn't look friendly at all. Panic surges through me as she raises a knife, her eyes glittering with malice. Please stop, I plead, my voice shaking with fear as she swung the blade down at me. The sharp metal cut into my chin, drawing out a deep blue liquid with white specks, which dripped from my face and onto the floor. She didn't seem satisfied with just one wound. She dragged the knife across my arm, releasing more of the sapphire liquid that mixed with the whites of my veins. It looked like stars scattered against a dark sky. I couldn't believe this was happening. It had to be a nightmare, but the pain felt too real. Laughter echoed around me, cruel and taunting from the girls who had joined in on this sick game. The woman behind it all just smiled, her manic grin sending shivers down my spine as she collected the precious fluid escaping from my body. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I cried out in agony, but she only hit me harder and yelled, Stop crying, you ungrateful little brat! This was no dream. It was a living nightmare. This has to be a dream. You must break free from this dream. You have to wake up before she murders you. Emerging from my slumber, I couldn't help but wonder about my past self. What did I look like? Who was I? Was that just a fleeting memory or a terrifying nightmare? Why do I feel so different from those around me in these dreams? Is it something in my blood? I have so many questions with no answers. I sat in the darkness for what felt like an eternity. My mind was bombarded with endless questions. It was as if I was trapped in an oubliette, a place where people were forgotten and left to be lost. How did I even know that word? Who came up with it? It seemed both complex and simple at the same time. Oubliette, I said to myself, just considering the existence of such a word. Exhausted from my thoughts, I eventually drifted off into a restless sleep once more, hoping when I woke there would be some sort of sight, anything at all. Time became irrelevant in this dark and desolate place. I tried to sleep as much as possible, seeking escape from the persistent fears of the unknown and the endless cycle of terrifying visions plaguing my mind. They were always the same: scenes of violence, blood, torture, and war. Each time I woke up, I longed even more for sunshine and flowers, a reminder of the beauty that still existed beyond this nightmare realm. The scent of flowers was a distant memory, one I clung desperately to in the midst of this horror. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and the dreams became less frequent. Perhaps they were memories, ones I was forced to relive over and over again. With each dream came a sense of healing, the pain becoming less with every passing night. It was almost like I was facing my demons head on, slowly but surely closing the door on those haunting memories. As time went on, I began to forget. Forget about who I was before. Forget about the life I had once lived. It was a small price to pay for some semblance of peace amidst this chaos and despair. My eyes snapped open. I was awake once again, but this time something caught my attention. My gaze fixed on a mysterious sight before me. It resembled the night sky, yet it was unlike a sky I had ever seen. The colors were vibrant and otherworldly, purples mingling with pinks, various shades of blue dancing together in an ethereal display. My heart quickened as one particular star seemed to grow brighter, almost as if it was coming closer. Panic set in as I realized it was indeed moving closer to me. Without thinking, I closed my eyes and curled up into a tight ball where I could now feel the dress I was wearing, terrified of what I might see or feel when it reaches me. With a loud bang, my body collided with something solid. My eyes shot open, and I am greeted by a beautiful sight: the endless expanse of the sky above me, painted in a brilliant shade of blue. Small, wispy clouds floated by, each one resembling a different object or structure or creature. A fluffy bunny, a delicate cotton ball, with two playful kittens tumbling in the air. The atmosphere is light and carefree, like a child's imagination brought to life. A symphony of birdsong filled the air, their melodic notes weaving together in a beautiful cacophony. The gentle rustling of leaves and branches could be heard as a breeze worked its way through the nearby trees, carrying with it the sweet scent of flowers. Amidst this serene backdrop, the faint sound of tiny feet scurrying across the ground added to the natural orchestra. The air was filled with a delightful mixture of scents, an intoxicating aroma of flowers, the musty scent of freshly cut wood, and the unmistakable freshness of a nearby stream. I inhaled deeply. I could almost taste the sweetness on my tongue. In the distance, I could hear the sound of water trickling over rocks and carving its way through the landscape. It was as if nature itself was speaking to me, inviting me to follow the melody of the stream as it flowed away from me. The intensity of the sun almost blinded me, causing my eyes to sting in water, but I refused to close them, afraid when I opened them again, this beautiful scene would disappear like a mirage. I was in the middle of a vast field filled with cheerful sunflowers, swaying gently in a soft breeze. A small stream runs through the field, its crystal clear waters reflecting the bright sun. Various animals have gathered near the stream, quenching their thirst and frolicking in the cool water. A curious bear cub stands at the edge of the stream, eagerly trying to catch a slippery fish with its tiny paws. Its mother watches from a nearby spot, her maternal instincts shining in her piercing gaze. The air is filled with the sound of nature, chirping birds, buzzing insects, and the soothing trickle of water, creating a serene backdrop for this idyllic scene. The sweet and heady scent of roses wafted through the air, beckoning me to explore. I stood up. My eyes were greeted by a stunning display of colors on one side of the field. A vibrant rainbow of colors lined up in perfect harmony delighted my eyes. On the opposite side, I could see clusters of fragrant lavender, lilies, and bluebells mingling together with an inviting path leading into a lush wooded area. My heart swelled with joy as I took in the beauty surrounding me. Though I didn't know my exact location, I felt a sense of safety and contentment here. Judging by the position of the sun, I guess the bears were located to the north based on that logic. The stunning roses must be on the west side, while the calming lavender mix occupied the east side. However, no matter how hard I strained my eyes, I couldn't make out what lay to the south. It was shrouded in an eerie, foggy darkness that sent shivers down my spine. I know I can't stay here forever, but for now I am content to bask in the natural beauty surrounding me. The vibrant colors of the flowers and the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind soothed my senses. Lying back, I am serenaded by the melodic hum of the bees gathering pollen and splashing of water of the hungry cub attempting to catch its dinner. The hypnotic sway of sunflowers dancing in the breeze. The warmth of the sun on my face is a welcome sensation after being surrounded in darkness for so long. The slight tingle on my skin is a small price to pay for such blissful tranquility. I know eventually the weather will force me to seek shelter and continue on my journey. When the time comes, I will search for someone who can tell me where I am and perhaps even shed light on how I ended up here in this picturesque paradise. Stepping forward, I take in my surroundings with a sense of wonder and rejuvenation. My feet feel unsteady after being confined for so long, but I push forward towards the stream. The water is clear and reflects the sunlight like a mirror, inviting me to come closer. Collapsing onto the soft grass next to the stream, I gaze into the water and see my own reflection staring back at me. My face appears pale, almost ethereal, with long hair cascading down my back. I am wearing a long pink dress that covers every inch of me. I see a scar on my chin. I lift the sleeve to find many scars up my arm. This dress must be to cover my shame. I look in the water again and see my reflection resembles the woman from my dream. But there is a stark difference. My hair is now streaked with patches of white. I peer deeper into my own features. I notice, while my face still looks young, my eyes hold a wisdom and age far beyond my years. A sense of fear creeps into my heart as I realize these women were not just figments of my imagination, they were my family. Tears began to stream down my face, falling into the gentle flow of the stream below. I hugged myself tightly for comfort, feeling the weight of sadness and solitude heavy on my shoulders. The lively sound of birds and insects had quieted, leaving only the soft pattering of my tears against the water. Suddenly, a tender touch on my hand causes me to look up. Before me stood a small bear cub, its large, soulful eyes staring at me with concern. I gazed back. The cub began to nuzzle against my hand in an attempt to soothe and comfort me. In the background, I could see its mother watching from the opposite bank, her protective stance softened by empathy. Peering out from behind her were other animals, bunnies, deer, a tiny bison calf, all silently observing me with gentle curiosity. Without further hesitation, they all made their way across the stream and surrounded me, forming a warm circle that felt like a loving embrace. I closed my eyes and drifted off to sleep, embraced by the warmth and compassion of these kind creatures. My dreams were filled with visions of their gentle presence and love. Upon waking, I am greeted by a peaceful darkness of night. I can see stars and the moon in the sky. The chirping of crickets and rustling of leaves fill the air, accompanied by the soft nudges of small animals urging me towards the northwest corner of the field. I follow their lead, my feet sinking into the dewy grass as we make our way to a large tree looming in the distance. I notice it has a sizable hollow at its base. The creatures guide me inside, where they gently nudge me to lay in the middle, where they form a protective circle around me. Despite their wild appearance, their kindness and gentle insistence calms my nerves, and I feel safe and comforted in their presence. Together, we spend a tranquil night nestled in a giant fluffy ball within the safety of the tree's hollow. The fragrant scent of pine needles and earth envelops us, lulling us into peaceful slumber amidst the sounds of nature. While my eyelids grow heavy, I feel this sense of trepidation for the unknown dreams that may haunt me in the void of sleep. I am comforted by the warmth and protection of my new animal companions. I eagerly anticipate what adventures the next day will bring. This makeshift shelter, nestled amidst the trees and protected from the elements, has become my safe haven as I acclimate to this new world around me. Maybe I'll never have to leave this peaceful sanctuary, but for now, I surrender to the peaceful embrace of slumber, surrounded by the love and warmth of my animal friends.